Hello and welcome to another episode of Review Revision. Now today we're going to be looking at Albania's entry to the competition. Now the question is, will they get some good karma? So before we delve in then to Albania's entry, let's have a little look back at their history at Eurovision. They've participated 16 times since they joined in 2004 and placed in the top 10 twice. Firstly in 2004 with Anxhela Peristeri placing 7th. And in 2012, they finished 5th with Rona Nishli. They're back with Karma and Anxhela Peristeri. So what do we all think then? Let's cross over to you first, Jack.
So I think it's decent. It's very, very dramatic. It's very grandiose. It's just very, very dramatic is the word to describe it. And that's not at all a bad thing. It's in Albanian, which was quite nice. Because when they translate their songs to English, it doesn't always quite work. So it's nice that they're keeping this in Albanian. And I think, it's dramatic. She can sing it well. It's not my favourite Albanian entry, but it's also far from my least favourite. They've sent quite a lot worse than this. And I think, it ticks all the boxes. I enjoy listening to it. I don't turn it over, but I don't have a massive amount to say on it, really. It's just... it's nice, but it happens, and then it doesn't happen, and my life's not any better for it, really. So yeah, I think it's a valiant effort. It will probably stand out in the semi, mainly because it comes immediately after Georgia, which is just the worst thing ever. But there's been better, there's been worse. That's probably my analysis.
Okay, interesting. What do you think, Emily?
Probably on the similar line of analysis to Jack. For me, it's intense, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of emotional. It feels quite it feels Albanian. It feels kind of ethnic, which, sometimes we kind of miss at the Eurovision Song Contest when there are so many songs kind of sung in English. So I think it does stand out in that respect. And I like that there's musical instruments that make it feel kind of Eastern European more than the kind of mainstream that we often get with Western Europe. So I think it's interesting. It's not particularly to my taste, my kind of personal music taste. So I'm not its biggest fan. So, but I can appreciate that it'll probably tick boxes for other people. So yeah, I'm kind of on the fence. I'd be more inclined to skip it than to listen to it, but I can appreciate that it's a decent effort from a country that doesn't always kind of stand out at Eurovision, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that exactly. And I think I'm kind of the same, to be honest, because I very much agree. I think it is quite intense. I mean, when I first saw the music video, the first thought I had was it was Beyonce on a Mamma Mia set. That's what it felt like, without that sort of like fun element of it. I think, cinematically and dress-wise, the music video, it sells it, and it does sort of have a fairy tale feel to the music, I think. But I don't really know how that will translate if they're doing it on stage, because I think it's quite, it's one of those ones where it sort of builds, but it doesn't really build too much. And I feel like they might struggle perhaps with the audience getting behind that one, more so than some of the others. I mean, I see fire on stage, I've got to be honest. I think it can be that sort of dramatic type of number. But yeah, I mean, one of those funny ones, but I don't quite know what's going to happen. And I mean, when it comes to my score in a minute, I think I've probably been over generous, but that's because I don't know how it'll do, which I think is a big part of what we're doing. So talking about scores, what are you thinking, Jack? Where do you think it will do?
Well, in my ranking, my personal 1 to 39, it's number 25. So it is sort of the lower end of halfway. It's all at the bottom of the second third, if that makes sense. And I think, yeah, that's probably where it is, because I don't have a lot of songs around that point are ones I don't really have any strong feelings towards. I don't hate it, I don't love it, and I don't really like it. So there's a few around that sort of bubble that I'm like, yep, nice, okay, it'll do. And I think it's, for me, that's definitely in the right place. Whether it will qualify or not, I sort of every day I sort of think differently. I think, oh yeah, this is definitely going to go through because Albania has qualified with worse than this. Their 2019 song, I think, was quite overrated, and that did get through fairly easily, I think, in the end. And this is, I personally think, better than that. But this is a stronger year than 2019, without doubt. So I'm a bit, I think, worse from them has qualified. But then I think back to the running order, and for people who sit down and don't leave and watch it from beginning to end, this will obviously stand out against Georgia, and they will vote for it, more likely. But for the people, if you watch the Georgia video back, I call that a PT entry, where you either go for a pee or make a cup of tea. And I think if people aren't back from that, from leaving the room because they found it so boring, they might miss the first half of this, the first 2 minutes of it. They might miss all of it. And then the audience that is going to see this, it's going to suffer from being next to Georgia, because that is such an anesthetic. That's like the music equivalent of arsenic. This is going to, like, this is the knock-on effect of that will hit this. So it could qualify. I am not sure that it will by any means. Yeah, that's what I think. I think they're in a strange position. Who really knows?
Yeah, it's very interesting. You along the same lines, Emily?
Yeah, I think I am. I'm not sure whether it'll qualify. I think it's one of those that could kind of be on the border, kind of between kind of 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. It's just could just kind of sit around that area. And again, like, yeah, it coming after Georgia could be kind of good or bad for it, because it could look kind of uplifting in comparison, but then if people have kind of zoned out at that point, whether it kind of does enough to kind of come, like, kind of lift up the contest after Georgia, I'm not so sure. For me, it's my personal number 31, so kind of a bit lower than Jack, but yeah, it's just not to my taste. That's the main reason I've kind of put it lower. But I can see why some people might be kind of a fan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of very much in my scoring, it seems more positive. I mean, you know, half your number and I'm there. I put as my number 15, which I'm calling a hopeful placement. It's one I think I listened to it at the time. I think I did quite like it, and against the others around that sort of area, I think it stood out. Now, the more I've listened to it, the more I'm starting to doubt that. I think it will qualify, but if it does, I don't think it'll do all that well. I think it could be easily forgotten, unless she really pulls it out of the bag with it in the live. I don't really see how it's going to work. But, you know, nevertheless, it gives them a score of 71, which isn't great, isn't the worst by any means, but still isn't great. But let us know what you think. You know, give us a like if you agree, or comment below and let us know your thoughts. And be sure to subscribe and follow us on our social media accounts at Review Revision, where you can see some more daily content there. What's not to love? We'll see you soon.